What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Your Love Experience Podcast. Today, I have two special human beings, right? I won't introduce them, but I'll let them introduce themselves. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I'm
My
good.
name is Hope Watson.
And I'm Kadero Watson. And we also
Are the Wonder Twins? I was about to say, you are the Wonder Twins. This is
the Wonder
The
Twins.
Wonder Twins.
We are
Wonder
Everyday
Twins.
with H and K.
Well, that's-
though. That's the brand of Everyday with H and K, man.
Yep.
So we started a year ago, just
Yeah.
pretty much. It's just we became. I don't like to say internet sensations. We just displayed our love on the internet, and
Yeah.
it went viral. Yeah, the best way to
Pretty
put it.
much.
But
The thing about it is when God's blessing you, we always like to water down things. I'm not going to say that we popular. I ain't gonna say that we funny. The funniest.
no,
Yeah.
I'll say I laugh at us, but
Mhm.
the whole popular thing, I'm just
Yeah.
like, that piece doesn't resonate with me at all.
But you know what it is? A lot of people is for HK Nation, though. I hope you know that. I see it. When we was doing the live, I seen HK Nation. I'm like, whoa. Back up.
They're
Back
the best. They
I'm
are
like,
the
what?
best.
They are.
Yes,
They
man.
protect
They're
you guys
amazing.
forever.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So tell me about your guys' love experience. You know, how did you guys meet? When did you guys fall in love? When did you fall in love with him? When did you fall in love with her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Our love experience. It all started kind of in middle school. Like we've known of each other since middle school, but officially started talking and doing all that going out in high school.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now he actually fell in love with me first, so you probably should have started the
That's
conversation.
true. I did say
Yeah.
I love you first.
He did.
And it was one of those, we had been hanging out, we
Yeah.
dating, and we were like at my house. She's like
Yeah.
sitting on my lap. We're at a computer.
And this was probably when we were how old? You would think like
16,
17 years old?
17.
Person.
Yeah.
Hold on. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. What's it? How old were you here?
That was probably around that time.
that was
That's
probably around that
17.
time. Yeah.
What is that in your ear right there?
That Bluetooth, man.
I remember,
That was,
I remember that. I actually remember that. That was so cool. You didn't have a beeper?
I
Did-
didn't.
I had a beeper.
I didn't have a beeper.
My father had a beeper. It was I used to take it and put it in my pocket, go to school with it.
Uh-huh.
But I was cool.
I'm telling you. Yeah, that one took us back.
Yeah, yeah,
But
that
yeah,
takes
we
us
were
back.
at his house and we were probably like 16, 17 years old. And he caught me off guard. Like, of course, like we had our, we introduced ourselves to each other like his freshman year, my sophomore year.
Mhm.
Kind of started talking low key a little bit then. And there's some stories with the stalker and like the,
I remember.
yeah,
I was there.
ex-girlfriend, all that stuff. But we actually, this was when we started dating, and I was at his house. I was always there, like every day. And we were just kind of kicking it and just chilling. And then like I don't know what happened, but
it was a joke that we saw or were laughing at.
yeah, we were laughing at something, and he was like, that's why I love you. And I was like,
Mhm.
and I said, I gotta go. And I literally,
Laugh at me. Didn't say it back, just laugh. Like,
Oh, shit, for real.
I didn't say it back. I just left. He scared me. I didn't know what that was. Like, I was like,
Wow.
what in the world?
Yeah.
But then, like, I finally, on my drive home, which was only like 5 minutes, because we grew up like 5 minutes from each other, I drove home and I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Do I call him back? Do I say it back? Like, what happened? But then I finally like processed it and wasn't freaking out anymore. And I examined my feelings and I was like, I do feel the same way. So I finally called him back. I don't know, maybe like an hour later and told him as well. But yeah, so that was very interesting.
How'd you say it though? Because for those who's trying to like know if it's like, you know what? You too. Like, how did you do it?
I honestly don't remember. I think I just like I asked him, like, did you mean to say it? Like, was that something that you meant? And I think you were kind of just like,
I was just like, yeah, if it came out, like that was my feelings. Like I don't think I would have just said it out of nowhere. If you're not feeling it, that unction don't even just come out if that feeling wasn't there. So it was like,
yeah,
I guess I did.
Yeah, and I was like, I honestly feel the same way, and I think at that moment we just kind of roll with it, like, oh, okay, like he loves me.
How did you know though? You know, like how did you guys both know? So you know what? Because at that moment you both felt the same exact way, right? But I know you don't just arrive there, right? You had the stalk in between, had the person this that, you know. So like, how did you know? Like for viewers, if somebody wants to know, hey, that my boyfriend never told me that he loved me, or you know, my girlfriend never told me that he loved me. How would you know?
That's tough because for us being so young, it's a unique experience because we're talking 16, 17, like, do we really know what it means to be in love? But it was for us, I think it was a feeling. One thing we always talk about is our relationship with God and the Holy Spirit that's in us. And so there's a piece sometimes of that feeling of how do I feel about somebody? And in my own relationship, even at a young age, I felt like I had a good relationship with God and going to him. And it's like, Holy Spirit, what is it about her? And I think a key thing is being friends first for us. So yeah, we had hang out, but we have known each other since middle school. We had been hanging out and been friends. So I've gotten to know her. I've seen her ups and downs. Like she said, she used to come over to my house and just
Every
chill
day.
even before we were dating. So it was like, this girl is been with me. We've been riding with this for a long time. So it was just like, when thinking about her on another level, it was like a piece.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything that was like, oh, like, nah, I don't want to mess it up. It was like, taking this to another level. It seemed like it could be cool, and I have a piece about doing it.
Yeah, you know what's so beautiful about? Oh, go ahead. You gonna say something?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, at that moment too, it was something that, like we said, I was at his house all the time, and my parents were actually going through a divorce at this time. So like, he was my listening ear. Like, he was the person I went to, and I unloaded all my thoughts, emotions, feelings, all of that stuff. And it was one of those things that I reflected on that 5-minute ride home. And, when I was back at the house before I called him, I was like, this man has been, young boy.
Young boy.
I was like, he's been there for me. Like, he knows how to handle my situations when it's like, I can trust him with this information, or he won't judge me if I feel this type of way. Like, it was just, I saw him at another level within that time.
That's how you was thinking?
Yeah.
At what age?
Like 17.
Nah,
well, I was like 18 probably.
We wasn't thinking about this person was kicking. We was like, nah.
Yeah. But now it's
I was about to say, for me, I think thinking that way was unique because of seeing it from my parents.
Yeah.
And so having those parental role models or just figureheads showing that type of unconditional love. My parents knew each other since they were in the second grade.
Yeah.
And then they've been married for over 40 years. So I've seen the ups and downs, and I've seen like issues like going hard, like bad things. And then I've seen like the great times. So it was like, for me, I kind of always knew I was going to get married young. And it was one of those things where I never wanted to be searching. And I wanted to, if I could be able to find that one that is going to fulfill the purpose, help me fulfill the purpose God had for me. Yeah. It was like, why try to search and try to go through this process, and you just never know what happens, and you're going through, when I had her right beside me the whole time. And then it was somebody I knew that being it young, it was like, all right, now we can grow together. It may be a little different, maybe a little harder, because now we still trying to learn ourselves, but we're doing it together. Yeah. And now it was going to be like, all right, who are you? Who you continue to learn? I'm still continuing to learn you. She's still learning me, but we're growing together in it. Yeah. And as I'm learning myself, she's seeing it, and she's seeing the maturity and the growth, and I'm seeing her. And now we're giving each other grace to be like, all right, what do you need from me? What do I need from you?
And I think also too, because like the surroundings that we've had, like he said, like his parents have been together or known each other since second grade. Like my parents were in their teenage years when they met and stuff like that. Then we have old souls, to be honest. Like you may see us like TikToking, but it's like
60, at least 70.
But it's like we have old souls, and I think that like even like we would hang around like our pastors, we would just soak up wisdom from them, like older people that were wise, that just spoken to us, that we just absorbed so much, and it kind of forced us to grow up quicker than your average teenager. Because I'm telling you, there's stuff I look back and I'm like, dang, why didn't you go to that party? Or like, why didn't you do this or that? Or like, why didn't I do that? And it was like, not that I'm grateful, for my upbringing, but it's just like that's the way that we were kind of molded, and our thoughts were
a but that's beautiful. You know why? Because what you just explained to me is that family, is very important. You know, what you've seen growing up is a reflection of what you really wanted. So it makes me think back to those people that don't really have that kind of, luxury of seeing a family for that long. Because, I know my father and my mother was together for a very long time as well. I think about like 18, 19. But that wasn't my path because I was just a reckless young fella, right? But I think that a lot of people get hope from that. They can say, "Wow, you know what? I'm young, but I'm a little bit mature. I could be a man.
Yeah.
I could be a man. I could do this.
Yeah.
Because eventually I'm gonna grow into an adult,
right?
And I want to put those. What it says. I read that scripture today too. Childish ways.
Did things like a child, but as child things behind me.
Exactly. So at some point you got to put those childish ways, but unfortunately, there's a lot of grown men acting like some. But we're not. Let's skip that. Let's get into let's go into something else.
For another podcast.
Let's go to another podcast. Yeah. So tell me, what is one thing, right, Kay, that you've seen in Hope? That is one thing that you've seen in her that you probably. I'm not going to say never seen in no one else because you haven't even been with no one else. Right? But even if, right, what is one thing that makes you look into her and say, you know what? I'm so happy that I married you. Like, you're that, the all sweet words. Like, you're my
for me, it's always been Hope's heart for people. And like, because I guess, and once again, that way we were raised, there is a love for others. There is a servanthood in her. And it's so unique when you find that in somebody else and you were raised that way. And like for some guys, like when you talk about seeing some aspects in your mother that you see in your wife and you're like, oh, okay. And that was it. That for me, that was like, I know my mother was a woman of God that loved people. She wants to serve people. She wants to make sure people are comfortable. And then I found this girl that's like the same way. And I'm like, oh, that makes me feel home. So that comfort and that ability to just look at her and be like, man, she cares more about other people than herself. And what I need to do is make sure she's thinking of herself sometimes.
Okay.
She cares so much about other people. And it's like, it vibed with my heart because I was taught to think about others. So it's like, man, when we come together, it's going to be about other people as much as we can. And like, when we always say, when we get this big home, like, or even in our little place, like we invite people over to just break bread. And so we always want our home and our place, that wherever we live, a place of peace and comfort. So if they whatever they're dealing, when they come here, they walk in the door and they feel peace. And it's just the atmosphere we create. And that was the first thing that attracted. Like, she always wanted to create an atmosphere of peace and love within her. And that's in her, that comes from her heart. And I could feel that immediately.
Yeah. And that sounds
I know.
So silly,
no, but that that's beautiful. I'm gonna get into Hope. She got to come back with that one. But
like, why you asking me
your court now? But that's really beautiful. Because when people come into a home, they're supposed to feel safe. Christian people, you got to have candles everywhere. You got to smell good. Everything got to smell good, right? You got some scriptures everywhere. So you're gonna read something. If you're going through something, you're gonna read it on the wall, right? Because I don't know if you have like a Hobby Lobby or something. You heard about that?
Yep.
Maybe get that. I like that.
That's sign.
Big boy by the table, get that.
Right.
The bathroom got to get one. The kitchen got to get one. The bedroom got to get one. The hallway got to get one. Every room got to get something, right?
Get a sign.
So, Hope, what's going on?
Oh gosh. For me, it was Kaderyl's willingness to not be with the in crowd, or like to not be the man that society says he needs to be. And I think that it's one of those things that he was very mature at a young age. I mean, of course, we all have our moments, but for the most part, Keishorne was very mature, forward thinking. And society says like you have to have this exterior of you can't show your emotions, you can't talk to a woman a certain way, or that plays you as soft, or like, you can't do X, Y, and Z. You got to show yourself a certain way. And Kidero didn't fall into that. And I think that it caught my heart, because I'm like, here's a man that doesn't care what society says, doesn't care. Even when you look at us doing TikToks now, like, I mean, he's been called certain things for doing things with his wife. And I'm like, what is that? Like, but he doesn't care. And I think that that's what I love, is that as long as Kidero knows that he is obeying what God has told him to do and having a happy wife, like he does anything for me and like for God and whatever God has called him to, like he doesn't care what people think. And I think that that's just so beautiful, that like you don't go with what society says you're supposed to be at all times. Like you're free to be whoever you want to be, and not be not feel a certain type of way if you show emotion, or not feel a certain type of way if you're loving on your wife and people talk about you for loving on your wife. And it's like, it just shows me that he's a stand-up guy, that he doesn't cave into pressure and feel like he has to conform to the ways of the world. So
that's deep, because you live in a world with a lot of men. You say one thing and they're quitting already. I remember before, like my hair, right? You see my hair how it is now. If I let my hair grow, it's fine. But during the quarantine, I got so familiar with it. I could have, but I can grow. Like sometimes I grow back and I just line it up, get a tape on the side, tape on my back, and I'm fine. Right, my hairline is good. I'm good. But I got so comfortable. Even my mom, like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
I want to learn my dad is. I want to look at my dad is boss. So I'm like, I got so comfortable, and now we moved to Jersey. I can't get a haircut, and I don't want her touching my hair.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It's gonna be gone. But we live in a society where men is really. But to go back to the hair thing, I remember when I used to have my hair, and you're not really, when you do a video, like, should I get a cut for this? Matter of fact, we're just gonna do the video. I ain't gonna worry about nothing. I ain't gonna shave. I ain't gonna get no haircut. I remember one time, I think I didn't get a haircut, so my hairline was looking funny. The video had on Facebook had about 20 million views, right? A video that I made, like a 2-minute video. At least 1,000 comments was talking about my hairline. It's like, look at him. They was cutting me, gifs, everything. Right, but what the internet could be harsh. Yeah, the internet could be harsh and dangerous. We didn't show our baby girl for a year on the internet until she was born, because you didn't know what to expect. You want to start talking, and I'm fine with it, but my wife, she might not.
Right.
You never know. You seen that video that you guys made? The video that says, "Talk to my husband any kind of way." Oh yeah, you can't. He can't. That's how it is. She gonna come up. Yeah. But what is some like really good advice, right, that you can give new millennials, right? We're gonna do a 2-part question, right? Part 1, those who are married, right, but kind of questioning their young love, because the clients that I have a lot of people who they're young, in their 30s, early 30s, and they got married when it was like 19, 20. But now at this point, they're talking about divorce, and they feel as if they wasted their youth married when they could have been having a good time. So now they're having that good time, 32, 33. Yeah. Which they actually should have been settling down. So what advice would you give someone in that situation?
You want to take it?
Go ahead, you start. Anyway.
I would say like when you get married young, because I know like that's definitely something we did, was getting married young. Right? Yeah, we got married 21 and 23. But what we've learned over these going on 12 years of marriage is to never stop learning each other. Yes. And like Kidero always says, like, be a student of your spouse. And I think he explains it so well that a lot of people say like, oh, we grew apart, or whatever the situation is, where some people feel like they grew apart, but at the same time, we have to learn how to grow together. And we have to realize that like when we were 21 and 23, that's not the same version of who we are today at 35 and 33. Yeah. So it's like you know, he's continuously learning me and I'm continuously learning him. And if we're continuously learning each other, then we're continuing to grow together. And I think that sometimes people forget to put in the effort that they put in when they were 19, 20 years old. And sometimes when you forget to put in that effort, or it's just one person putting in effort, you know, they can start to feel used or taken for granted, that piece. And so it's kind of like, if you're continuously learning your spouse, continuously looking to please your spouse and serve them in every way, just like you were when you were 19 and 20, then the love is just going to grow and deepen. Yes. So I think it's just important to keep those two things, you know, growing together and serving one another, and just, you know, allowing the person to grow and being open to who they're growing into, because I don't want to stunt his growth. I know he doesn't want to stunt my growth. So it's like, we got to learn to adapt, and we got to learn to accept each other's growth, you know, within reason. You know, he's not growing and doing X, Y, and Z over here, but within reason, like that person's growing, and you just got to make adjustments and be open to it.
Yeah. I think for that group, when you're talking about being married and in your 30s and you're feeling a little stuck because you were married young and you lost felt like you lost your youth. To me, I always struggle with that thought of, why do you feel like you lost your youth? Is it your partner? Because so you're really saying your partner is the reason why you lost your youth, and that can be a touchy subject if you're saying that, because for us, if you have that friendship of foundation and you're still growing together, I'm not losing my youth. I'm just now have a partner in crime to do those youthful things. We sat it the other day and talked about some things we did in our 20s. We did them together. And we were like, yo, we was wild. Like, we were doing out there. Like, Lord, probably
shaking his head.
Shaking his head. But we can say we did it together. We were a married couple doing it together. So you got to be very careful saying something as I lost who I am. Because now you're putting out a narrative of resentment. And that could be super dangerous to the relationship. And so it's a thing where now let's go back to where it started, of that friendship, or when we were 19 and 20, like Hope said, what were we doing? Because what made you fall in love with me? Because those are the things we can get back to. Just because we're 30 and 31 don't mean we can't hang out and have fun together. And then as we grow and there's different things happening, we got to know there are boundaries we have to set, because we are a married couple, that we can still do some things, and she's going to allow me to grow and give me grace to grow. But I also got to know, okay, I can't cross certain lines because I am a married man. But I think for those people, it's just remembering why it all started. And that youthfulness you didn't have to lose it. You just got to remember to do it with the person you riding with.
And that may be doing some new things, because a lot of people get stuck in their ways, I feel like, and have like this mundane schedule of wake up, eat breakfast, go to work, come home, eat dinner, go to bed, do whatever. And it's like, we do the same thing over and over and over again. And it's like, okay, work something new into there. Work something spontaneous within the evening or the afternoon, that it's like, you know, we're having fun again. We're keeping it fresh instead of just, you know, getting in the routine of life. And sometimes I think we forget to have fun as people.
And that's what I was thinking about just now. I was thinking about when you guys talk about your youthfulness and when you're in your 20s, it's like a baby, right? When a baby is loving you, a baby will love you unconditionally. You expect that baby, tell that baby go to the room, that baby will come outside and say, you know what, I love you anyway. Let's have some fun. Right? It can be angry at you and it'll still go to the park after that. It will still sit down. It will forget everything. It might even apologize. But the baby will always be pure and happy and loving. And it won't change its behavior because of you. It might be a little upset. But my daughter, like, if she gets upset or she gets angry, we say, hey, go in your room and you know, no iPad. Right? I gave her my cell phone. I have another phone, right? I gave her my phone once. She wakes up in the morning. Where's my phone? Let me see what time it is. I'm like, what? You better look at your clock, your Mickey Mouse clock. I got to play Roblox. You know Roblox? roadblocks for my friend in Kamaya. I'm like, what do you know? She's like, oh, that's the phone. I'm like, oh, so she thinks that she's grown now, right?
Yeah.
She started crying. She's like, all right, well, make me breakfast. I'm up at 4:30 every morning. So I woke up. I'm like, all right, I already did what I had to do. They make us some breakfast. She was like, all right, could you give me my phone so I can sit at the table and check and see if Kamaya and FaceTime me? But you see how it's programmed in their mind.
Yeah.
So even when you take away the phone for so long and they cry, they don't care. They will still come and give you a hug, lay on top of you, sit on your lap, or whatever it is. Yeah. As we get older, we get programmed to do what you just said, that schedule. Say, I gotta do this. And then feelings get involved. You start looking at them like, why not married you in the first place?
Right.
You know, you start working with coworkers now. She might be cute. He might be handsome. You start looking outside the box like, they look like they fun. I'm about to eat cook dinner. And then after that, he probably ain't gonna do nothing, or she's not probably gonna do nothing, and it's gonna be some boring night. You know, and then once they invite you out, guess where you're going? You're gonna put on the nails. You're like, yeah, Jacqueline from HR invited me out. And you never wore makeup a day in your life.
They put that same energy into your marriage, and it won't be
exactly. And a lot of people don't. You know, I have a brother-in-law who's been married for 17 years, probably a long time, right? And they're young too. They're probably like 40. I know they got married when I was like 17 or something. My math might be wrong, but they got married at 17. But he be kissing on her, hugging her every minute. I'm like, I'll be looking over there, I'm like, yo, chill out. Man. I'm serious out there. You making me look bad because she'll look at you guys and wonder why I'm not doing that. Stop.
Right.
Do that in your house. But come to know that's love. Yeah. Nobody will stop you from showing expression to the woman that you love, the man that you love. Yeah. Right? So quickly, what advice would you give people who are single and looking for love, but just, don't know where to find it?
Mm-hmm. Hope you always talk about this, but it's like,
you always talk about this. Yeah.
You always talk about not being in a rush and allowing society to dictate when, where, how to fall in love. Like there are so many, as we've seen, there's so many experts and so many folks, and we are all human and we all fall short of the glory. So you got to run your own race.
Yeah.
And allow yourself some grace in this all. Love is a risk. Yeah. So that's the part where it's like, you got to be willing to put yourself out there.
Yep.
And I would say you have to be willing for possible hurt and be mentally ready for it to happen.
Yeah.
Just in case, because I think we're going to all go through at some point and you're going to be hurt. Even once we're married, we hurt each other and we break, like we do things. So you have to be mentally ready to know that this person that I'm with or this person I'm dating can possibly not be the one that can hurt my feelings. So let me at least take my time and learn everything I need to learn about them. Not allow a time frame to go by to say, oh, I need to be married by then. Maybe it's not.
Some people look at women are more than men.
Oh,
yeah. I'll be married before I'm 35. If I'm not,
Yeah. And I think that's the thing too. Like you said, like, this is social media. Like they put so much pressure on, I got to find a bae by, October. It's cuddling season and whatever they call it. I don't know what's going on. But or I got to be married by the time I'm, 27. Got to have kids by 30. Got to, do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, I would advise anybody that's looking to get into a serious relationship to know who you are, because a lot of times we get into relationships that we don't even fully know what we want yet, or we don't fully know who we are. And I'm not saying that we have to have it all together, because we are always changing and evolving. But at some point we have to think about what we want, what we're going to, accept from people, what we're not going to accept from people, and kind of be patient. And especially if you're a believer, like knowing that God is going to present you with the right person at the right time. And if we're in such a rush and, God may be thinking like, that's not it. That's not who I have for you. I'm trying to save you from heartache, but you want to be in a rush and that's not the one that I have for you. So it's like, we can sometimes cause hurt to ourselves by not even being patient and not even being led by the Holy Spirit of who we're supposed to even be with. And I think that sometimes we can eliminate some baggage and hurt and heartache if we would just be patient and figure out who we want and go to God and ask him to, lead us to that person. But yeah, I would say just
that's the truth. A lot of people, they rush relationships and they don't know who they are at all.
Yeah.
And they try to figure out themselves while they're in the relationship, but then the other person will tell them who they is, and then before you know it, the relationship ends, and then they don't even know who they are, and they lost themselves, but it wasn't really themselves.
Yeah.
It was a false. Man, thank you so much for joining me again. Second round, you're like, all right, that's it, man. I hope you know this is it. I'm gonna say your hope, man. You think you can do another? Nah, this is it. You already got twice. It's over.
No, thank you so much for having us, though.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Any final words for the audience? Anything about marriage? Anything that you guys got coming up? Anything new? Any series? Any new TikToks? Any business? Anything that you monetizing? Wink, wink. While the fire is hot.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I don't know. We're still just consistently putting out content and whatever that looks like, whether it's our podcast. I know that we finished season 1 a couple months ago.
H&K Chronicles. We can put that out there. H&K Chronicles is our podcast.
Yeah.
And talking about monetizing Patreon. We do have a Patreon where we throw up some stuff that we don't put on Instagram. It's a little extra. Stuff you getting out there. You get the actual video footage of our podcast, stuff like that. So some special things like behind the scene footage of us doing some TikToks.
There's
one of
I think people need to invest in that because you need to understand what goes on.
Like a month ago,
the relationship.
You see one time Hope kicks me in the head, like we're trying to do one of these TikToks, but it's funny. And you get some gems in there, so it's always a good time.
Yeah, we're still kind of pen to paper right now, but whenever we get a lot of stuff, we'll call you back so we can put it on out there.
Absolutely. Whatever you guys want to talk about, while the fire is hot. My thing is, when the fire is hot, that's when you start to drop, right? Because when the fire is cold, nobody knows,
Right.
But everybody have the hot moments, You guys been hot for a long time, so I don't know what's going to cool it down. Especially when you're doing TikTok and stuff like this, there's really no cooling down. I think you cool yourself down. I think that's when you're like, let's instead of doing 4, let's do 1 a week, and then you skip a week, and then before you know it, you back in your whole life now. And me and my wife, we started in the beginning of the year. We started a family YouTube. That's 2 or 3 videos, and we've never done it again.
Really?
I don't even remember. I don't even know what happened.
Yeah,
I think life got in the way.
Assuming though, trying to throw out that.
We the Scots. Next minute, we have a YouTube, right? Yeah. When did we start that?
I'm telling you, it's a lot.
Yeah, life hits, man. But just keep doing your thing. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep working hard. Keep creating content. For people because everybody's watching. We are a nation. HK Nation. Ain't no Keishorne Nation. It's HK Nation. Throughout the whole. I'm scared.
Yeah.
Because if somebody says something bad about you guys, I feel sorry for the people, their family, their dog.
I'm telling
you. Because people are there. So, from my heart to yours, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I ain't gonna ask y'all to hug and kiss. I'm not, so this is for the podcast. You hear that, guys? For those who are on the iTunes, you heard it, right? All right, behave yourself now. So thank you guys, and I appreciate it. Until next time, you'll have experience.